Hello class, welcome back. I have this project that we're going to be working on today. This is a crocheted yarn basket. This is what our finished project is going to resemble. But to begin, we start with 4 to 6 strands of yarn. Now remember, we're going to determine how many strands we need based on how heavy our yarn is. So if we have lightweight yarns, we're going to pick more strands. If we have heavier yarns, we're going to have less strands because we don't need as much thickness. We're also going to determine what size of a hook we need. So I have 5 medium weight yarns. This one's a bit lighter. This is a 3. These 3 are 4s, and this one's about a 5. And I'm using a 7 hook. So my 7 will be the perfect size for these 5 strands of yarn. Okay, to begin, like most of our projects, we start with a slip knot. We simply make a loop, reach through our loop, and pull it to the other side. Now we have a slip knot. We put our hook through the slip knot. Now remember, sometimes we want a nice tight start to our chain, but this is not one of those times. We're going to start a little bit looser than we normally would. So you see, we're going to leave a little bit of a gap between our knot and the hook. That's okay. That's what we're looking for. We're going to chain 3. So remember, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. Then we're going to, got a little snag on my yarn. We're going to turn back to the beginning. We're going to look at that first knot, and what we're looking for is the bigger loop. So you can see this one's a bit wider than that one. So I want to go through the big part of the loop. I'm going to go through the big loop, yarn over, then I'm going to turn and pull through. Now I have 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to turn my head towards the base of those loops and pull through both of them. Okay, so that's my first stitch. Now I'm going to repeat this 6 times. That was 1. Here we go. Back through the same hole, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, turning back towards the base of the loops and pulling through both. Here we go. That's 2. Back through the same hole, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, turning towards the base of both loops and pulling through. I'm giving it a bit of a wiggle. This is a lot of yarn, so it's a bit tricky. Back through the same hole, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. We're at 4. Okay, here we go. Back through the same hole, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, turning my head towards the base of those loops, wiggling it through. That's 5. 1 more. Yarn over, pull through, and then I'm yarning over and I'm pulling it through both loops. Now, this is what I've got. So here we go. This is the bottom side, and you can see all of these stripes are directionally the same. On the edge, we have what I'm going to describe later as the V's. So you can kind of see how the yarn is pulled this way and that way. It's trickier to see a little bit when you have multiple strands. So remember, you can always look at those other videos where we're doing our single crochet with single strands. It's easier to see the V's in those single strand videos. Here's what we're going to do though. We have finished our beginning loop. Okay, so now we're going to find that very first stitch, and he's tricky. He's right here, and I'm going to just go ahead and work my hook through him. He's a little bit overlapped, so I'm working my hook through him. Then I'm going to do another single crochet. I went through both strands of the V, so they're both right there. So I'm going to turn, and I yarned over and pulled through. Now I have 2 loops just like before. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, and that's our first stitch of our second loop. Now this is also the same time that I'm going to tell you guys it's a really good place to add your stitch marker. Okay, so your stitch marker, it would go right through these strands right here, and that would help to indicate every time visually when you get back to this spot, you start with your next step in the pattern. So this step is a pattern. This is our second, well, it's our first row because the middle doesn't really count, but it's our second row. So I'm going to call it the 2 pattern. So the first stitch that we came across, we put 1 stitch in it. Now we're on our second stitch, and again, just single crochet, and we're going to stick 2 stitches in our second stitch. Okay, so I'm going through the same set of holes twice. That is what's going to expand the base of our basket. So to give us a nice, flat, stable base, we must expand. To expand, we have to add extra stitches. So that's what we're doing. So we're going one in the first stitch. This is another one. Here we go. And then the next stitch is a 2-stitch. So we're going to go twice. We're going to find, this one's a bit tricky to find. It's right here. Can you see it? It's a bit tricky for me to find. So we're going to go through and we're going to pull our single crochet back out. And then there we go. And then just to remind us what single crochet looks like, we're going to go through the stitch. This is nice and tight, which is good for our basket. We want stability. We're going to yarn over. We're going to pull it through. Then we're going to yarn over, turn towards the base of our stitches, and pull it through both loops. Oops, put that yarn back over. There we go. Okay, so then that was a double. So now we're back to single. Here we go. This stitch we go through, and we're just going to stitch in it one time. Okay, there we go. One single crochet stitch. Oops, there we go. And then the next stitch is going to be again a double. So here's the next stitch, and we're at double. So one stitch, oh, there we go, and 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. All right, now here's where the pattern changes. So we have just completed our second row. We're back at the beginning, and we're going to now be on our third row. So for the third row, we're going to go 1 stitch in the first one, 1 stitch in the second one, and 2 stitches in the third one, because we're on the third row. And as we keep expanding the base of our basket, with each new row, we're going to put extra single stitches between our double stitch, okay? And I don't mean a double crochet stitch, I mean 2 stitches in one space, okay? So here we go, back to our pattern. We're going to go 1, oops, here we go, and then 1 again. Okay, and every stitch is a single crochet stitch. That's the only stitch we're doing today. And then in this next one, we're going to add 2 stitches because we need this circle to grow. So stitch 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Okay. And then here we go, back to the same pattern. 1 stitch. Oh, this one's a bit stuck. There we go. 2 stitch. And then here we go. This is the third one, so we're going to put 2 stitches into the same stitch. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And remember, guys, oops, trying to get an extra piece of yarn in there. Hold on, let me fix that. There we go. Remember, we're finding our stitches like this. They kind of look like V's. We're looking right here, and we can see the V. We can see the V that look, it's 2 groups of yarn. That's one of the strands of the stitch, and that's the other strand of the stitch. And we're just taking our needle, and we're going through both. Okay, we're going through to the bottom of the stitch. From this angle, you can see that it kind of, there is a gap there. So it's not that hard to get through most of the time, but we are using a lot of strands. So if you're struggling, that's probably it. So all we're going to do here is continue on this pattern. We're going to go from a single stitch, and then on the third stitch 2. And then the next row, we'll follow the same pattern. We'll do a single stitch, a single stitch, a single stitch. 4th stitch gets 2. So each progressive row, we're going to put an extra singular stitch between our double, okay? And we just follow that until we have the base, the diameter that we're looking at. So if this one has a base that is about 6.5 inches, I want you guys to end up with a base anywhere between 4 inches and 7 inches, but definitely stop by 7. Now at that point, if you get that far, I'm going to give you a big high five and smile at you and maybe a gold star. If you get farther than that, if you're ready to keep going, it gets even easier. So to keep going and to climb up the walls like this, all you're going to do is not add extra stitches. You just put one stitch in every stitch, and it will begin to turn the corner and go straight vertically up. Okay? So go ahead and just get as far as you guys can and bring me the progress you have. Now remember, we're learning new skills, and so sometimes it's frustrating and sometimes it's challenging. If this was easy stuff, everyone would already know how to do it. So if you get frustrated, feel free to reach out to me or just save it till next week, and I am happy to help you in class, okay? I'll see you guys soon. Bye.